morning, y'all. I had to think of what day it is. It's Friday. Okay, so Coco went home yesterday. A little update. I'm sorry, my lens is dirty. I'm gonna clean this in a minute. So a little update on her. She did well, I would say Saturday and then Sunday. So I stayed home Sunday to watch her that morning. So I watched Facebook Live. I went to watch her service online. So I stayed there and I went to church Sunday because mom had work Sunday, homework and stuff, so she stayed home with her. She was fine. Sunday she slept. Okay, so she slept the first night with mom Saturday night, but then she slept with me the rest of the night. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, she slept with me 4 days. Anyway, so she was fine Sunday, she was fine Monday. It wasn't until Tuesday we noticed she started slowing down, acting lethargic, there we go. Just not her puppy self. She was fine for as long as she was playing and everything. I wish I took a video, guys. The way she was playing was so cute and I forgot to videotape that. Zachary's in his room coming up downstairs and I don't want him disturbing me. So anyway, I'll let him talk freely. Also, I'm in the midst of doing my bedding and I stripped my couches slip covers because it's been a while. The dog was all over my stuff, so I wanted to clean that. So in the midst of all that, plus my own laundry. But anyway, where was I? Talking about Coco and so Tuesday we noticed she was just acting slower, lethargic. We didn't know what was going on. She acted like the first night I woke her up, she was fine and giddy and she wanted to go outside. Well, the second night, literally, I picked her up and she just kind of, obviously she was on the bed still, but she just kind of slumped back down. And I was like, this isn't Coco at all. I know it's early in the morning, but still. First we thought she was just depressed, overtired. But then she started limping, and we're like, what is going on with this poor dog? She got to the point where I think it was definitely Wednesday that was definitely showing more limpage, and she wasn't able to go to the bathroom, and I was like, what is going on? We were planning on taking her to the vet on Wednesday because after we did Zusi's house, mom was going to take me home. She didn't want to her by herself with Zachary. I'm more responsible basically, but then there was traffic and everything, so she skipped not going to class, and she just didn't want Coco to be by herself as well with me, so she wanted, if I needed extra help, she would be there to help. So yeah, she just wasn't acting like her puppy self. She wasn't able to move, and we're like, what is going on? Did she hurt herself? Like we thought she jumped off furniture and wasn't using to it. We did call the owners. She does have arthritis, so we thought maybe it was just arthritis, but she still wasn't acting like her puppy self. She got diarrhea a couple times, not a whole lot, but it was just enough. She still ate and drank, but not right away. It wasn't like, you know, I want to eat, you know, send him. She would eat, but not really at the same time. So, what day was it? Thursday was our last day. I'm not gonna lie, I felt guilty every time to leave her. So I know she was feeling lonely. We thought she was also homesick, which could be part of it, the stress of living. Like, I'm not in my atmosphere, my family's not here, like, what's going on? And so, we thought she had a fever as well. Well, the owners came and picked her up, noticed she wasn't doing well either, took her to the animal hospital that we used to take Skylar to, because taking to her regular vet would take a lot longer to go. So they took her to the vet and found out she has Lyme disease. Took so many tests and everything, that's what they came up with, and I was like, no wonder she was limping. And I looked at all the signs of Lyme disease. They will start to go like a paralysis in their leg where they can't move. and her one leg was swollen, and she was typically warmer than usual. It's no wonder she didn't want to really eat, or her stomach got upset, because we thought at first we gave her something that her stomach's not used to, and that may be it, but at the same time, like, we didn't give her anything that a dog couldn't have. You know, we gave her stuff that even Skylar would eat or could have. And so we rinsed everything off. We gave her stuff that she could have. It's like we couldn't have poisoned her or anything like that. So now this was something she originally had. Apparently she had a tick bite and came from that, and she probably already had it in her system, and then just happened to her house that she got it. So she's on antibiotics. She's doing well. She's able to go to the bathroom again, because she didn't go, what day was it? The last night. Wednesday night, I took her out. She didn't go to the bathroom. I was like, great. She wouldn't pee. She couldn't move. I would walk her around the yard. Just let her get some fresh air and stuff. And that day, Wednesday day, so I would just walk her around the yard, help her. And she went to the bathroom even then, but then that night she didn't. And then she didn't do it the next morning. Even when I went to work, Zachary helped her, she wouldn't go. She wouldn't go for a while. And she didn't go until that evening, basically. I was like, poor dog. So I felt so bad for her, but thank the good Lord, it's curable. She can be on antibiotics. She might have the disease within her for the rest of her life. She is 12 years old. I don't know how many years she has on her left, but thank the good Lord. We'll continue to pray for that poor little dog. Oh my gosh. It just broke my heart to see her go through that. And it brought back memories. Like I say, Wednesday night, I literally cried because it gave me back memory, like horrible, like good memories, but also bad memories of Skylar going through the sickness that she went through, and just the same mannerisms, because they're both Yorkies. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the first time in probably over a year now or so that I started crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, this was so upsetting. And I was like, oh my. So yeah, just pray for Coco. If she needs lots of prayer right now. She's just a sweet, sweet little dog, and I hate that she went through that, and I hope she doesn't feel traumatized by us. Hopefully when she sees us, she won't think of us as the enemies. Like, we tried to help her, really tried, so hopefully that'll be okay. But I don't think she's gonna want to come back to her house. She'll be like, that's where I got sick, I don't want to go there again. But yeah, we came to conclusions. We don't have the time or effort to put into a dog. It just kind of confirmed things. Our family's not ready for a dog at all. Like, Mom just doesn't have the time for it. I took a majority of the responsibility of her and Zachary. I mean, Mom did a handful of times, so did Ricky, but Zach and I were the main people. While I wasn't available here, he took care of her, and Ricky occasionally, so we all took part into it. It's just I was the main person, and then Zachary was the second main person. So yeah, we're just not ready for a dog, and I think the parents agreed. We're probably not getting a Yorkie again, even though we loved having Skylar. Smaller dogs seem to be more high maintenance than most dogs, but I feel like any type of dog is high maintenance, and any dog, I can't really concur with what Ricky had said. He said they have too many health problems. Yes, maybe so, but a lot of dogs it doesn't matter what type of breed they are, they're going to get some kind of disease or hurts or anything. So all dogs are a lot of maintenance. That's just the way it is. They're going to get sick, they're going to have problems. It doesn't matter what type of dog it is. Period. So I don't know where he's coming up with that. I guess he's just frustrated with having a small dog. Yeah, so we're probably not getting a Yorkie, even though we thought we were going to want to get another Yorkie. So my mom's thinking like more of a medium-sized dog, but not here at this house. We don't have the yard for it. We want a fenced-in yard where they can just run and not feel like they're going to get run off into the yard or the road and get hit by a car or out in the woods and get lost or whatever. So we're not probably getting another animal while we live at this house. When we move, whenever that it may be, Lord willing, we'll get a place where we can have a dog and it can just run freely and not feel like it's going to get run over or something like that. So, no more animals in this house, at least. So that's what happened to Coco. Poor thing. I felt bad. I hope she didn't feel like she was abandoned or I do think she was sort of depressed, but of course the sickness brought that on, so just keep Coco in your prayers, guys. She's such a sweet little dog. Even though she's getting old, she's still a living, breathing thing, and we should pray for her to help her through this time, and the family as well, because it's hurtful. But anyway, so this morning we've gotten myself going. I had helped Mom and Zach and we all unloaded the van and reloaded with stuff that we need to take to the church. Oh my gosh, it seems like a lot just goes in. Constantly taking stuff in and out of the vehicle from either here to the church or the church to here. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so much. I just need a warehouse. That's what we need. We need a warehouse. And we keep everything there. And that's it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just a lot of work. And so we did that. We're going to drop things off here pretty soon. Like I said, I'm in the midst of doing laundry, bedding. I'm cleaning and sanitizing because I didn't want my stuff to smell like dog. No offense to Coco, but she has like that wet dog smell, and the wet dog smell is just gross. So, yeah. I've got lots to do, and of course my regular chores and work on my dollhouse, vlogging, which I'm already doing, editing and all such a thing. So I am probably here pretty soon, be leaving because my mom has been finishing up, getting herself ready, and we'll be leaving soon to take that stuff to the church and come unload it, come back, and then when I come back, we'll probably be doing Bible times. So, well, I'll be doing my chores first and then do Bible times. So, I'll see you guys when I see you. So, yeah, see you later. Alright, it's everybody's favorite time of the vlog, Bible time. So, let's get started. Last time we were in Genesis chapter 44, so we're in Genesis chapter 45. This time, Joseph reveals his identity. Joseph couldn't stand it no longer. There were many people in the room, and he said to his attendants, "Get out of here, all of you." So he was alone with his brothers. Then he told them who he was. Then he broke down and wept. He wept so loudly the Egyptians could hear him, and word of it quickly carried to Pharaoh's palace. "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still alive?" But his brothers were speechless. They were stunned to realize Joseph was standing there right in front of them. "Please come closer," he said to them. So they came closer, and he said again, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. This famine that has ravaged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years, and there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God has sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive, to preserve many survivors. So it is God who sent me here, not you, and he is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of his entire palace and the governor of all Egypt." Well, sidebar, call intentions. Although Joseph's brothers had wanted to get rid of him, God used them even their evil actions to fulfill his ultimate plan. He sent Joseph ahead to preserve their lives and the lives of many others. When people intend evil towards you, do you have trouble believing that God is still in control? Sometimes, if I am thinking of things because of myself, situations that happen to myself, yes, sometimes other people's intentions were always not so nice. And did I think God was in control? Not always. But he is, by the way, he is. Although evil is never God's intent, He doesn't always save us from bad situations. True. He can, however, bring good out of evil. Amen. Now hurry back to my father and tell him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me master of all the land of Egypt, so come down to me immediately. You can live in the region of Goshen, where you can be near me with all your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and everything you own. I will take care of you there, for there will still have 5 years of famine ahead of us. Otherwise you and your household and all your animals will starve. Then Joseph added, look, you can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that I really am Joseph. Go and tell my father of my honored position here in Egypt. Describe for him everything you have seen, and then bring my father here quickly. Weeping with joy, he embraced Benjamin, and Benjamin did the same. Then Joseph kissed each of his brothers and wept over them. And after that they began talking freely with him. Pharaoh invites Jacob to Egypt. The news soon reached Pharaoh's palace. Joseph's brothers have arrived. Pharaoh and his officials were all delighted to hear this. Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers this is what you must do. Load your pack animals and hurry back to the land of Canaan. Then get your father and all your families and return here to me. I will give you the very best land in Egypt, and you will eat from the best that the land produces. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, take wagons from the land of Egypt to carry your little children and your wives, and bring your father here. Don't worry about your personal belongings, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. So the sons of Jacob did as they were told. Joseph provided them with wagons, as Pharaoh had commanded, and he gave them supplies for the journey. And he gave each of them new clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 5 changes of clothes and 300 pieces of silver. He also sent his father 10 male donkeys loaded with the finest products of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other supplies he would need on his journey. So Joseph sent his brothers off, and as they left he called after them, don't quarrel about all this along the way. And when they left Egypt and returned to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. Joseph is still alive, they told him, and he's governor of all the land of Egypt. Jacob was stunned at the news. He couldn't believe it. But then they repeated to Jacob everything Joseph had told them. And then he saw the wagons Joseph had sent to carry him to him. Their father's spirits revived. But Jacob explained, it must be true. My son Joseph is alive. I must go and see him before I die. And that is chapter 45. And we'll be getting into 46 later. Also, I'm going to do a random chicken soup of the day. Okay, this is called An Unbreakable Bond, and this is called on the topic tragedy. Becca and I met in the 1st grade. She was new student registering at our school, and I was in trouble for daring Kenny someone to stick raisins up his nose. Okay, that's nice. Of course, when you're little like that, you're gonna do stupid things like that. We spent the entire afternoon in the principal's office together and came away from the experience completely inseparable. At a parent-teacher conference, my 1st grade teacher told my mother that elementary friendships never last. My 1st grade teacher told my mother that elementary friendships never last. That within 2 months of everyone has a new best friend. She was wrong. Through elementary school, when best friends change every week, middle school when no one is ever cool enough, and junior high when everyone reevaluates everything about themselves, we remain steadfast. That's cool. And together with excitement and apprehension, we entered high school. It's truly amazing how your entire priority system changes when you enter those intimidating double doors. Instead of sleepovers and birthday parties, it becomes dating and dances. The first dance was homecoming. I didn't really think about it. I had better things to do, such as football games, seeing movies, or going out to eat. Besides, I wasn't allowed to date. I didn't want to be another freshman dork at a dance without a guy. My reasons were good enough for me, but they didn't satisfy Becca. The Friday morning of the game, she appeared at my locker, where I pretended to be furiously looking at my biology book. I didn't know you weren't going to the dance, she said, accused me. I shrugged, still boring. Come on, she pleaded, please go with me. I dug still, wishing I never heard of homecoming. Why won't you go? Silence from my end. Is this because you don't have a date? I stopped furrowing through my stuff. Maybe. She sighed in frustration and turned away. I sighed in relief, although I knew she wasn't going to forget the conversation even if she had to find me a date. The second confrontation occurred at the actual game. I don't have a date either, she announced to me. Becca, you told me you had a date. You've had a date for several weeks. I was starting to get slightly annoyed. Slightly. Would you just leave me alone already? I looked up at her. That was really the wrong move to make. Becca had that wounded puppy look in her eyes. I hate that look. Please, will you leave me alone if I give you an answer? She grinned a characteristic Becca grin. Yes, was her quick reply. Can you call me tomorrow, okay? At promptly 2 o'clock on the day of the dance, I received the dreaded call. What have you decided? She asked, trying to sound like she didn't really care. I guess, I moaned, desperately searching for the I'm sorry, but I can't make it speech I had been rehearsing all day. Yes, thank you, thank you. You have no idea how happy I am. We'll pick you up at 7, okay? You don't need to pick me up, I began. Don't worry about it. It's on our way. Love you. Bye. Bye. I didn't want to admit it, but her excitement was catching. Maybe that night wouldn't be so bad after all. Okay, I'll say it. The dance was fun. Becca and I had the times of our lives, dancing like maniacs. It seemed like 11 came way too fast. One sec, we were dancing to Time of Your Life, and the next, the lights were coming back on the gym. Becca threw her arm around my shoulder. So, what do you think? Glad you came? I grinned at her. Thanks for talking me into it. No problem, babe. Come on, let's go home. Arm in arm, we left the building, totally wrapped up in life. It seemed that we were heading into the happiest time of our lives, and the next 3 years were looking really good. This is weird, Matt commented, turning on his windshield wipers. I cast a nervous glance out the back window. It was beginning to hail with ferocity that you would usually see in the middle of October. We almost home? Becca asked with just a twinge of anxiety in her voice. Yeah, a few more miles. Squinting out the front of the window, I watched the tree limbs lying in the bed of the truck in front of us wave in the strong wind. I don't think I like being behind this truck, Matt said nervously. I'm going to get into the other lane. Just as he turned his blinker on, I caught sight of the truck again. Matt! I screamed in terror. The next few seconds seemed to last forever. Yet they went by faster than my mind could process what was happening. The huge truck spun out of control, landing on its side. Tree limbs leaving and everything else imaginable came flying towards Matt's car in a tangled mess. With a sickening crash, we came to rest on the side of the road. I pried open my eyes. Broken branches and twigs were piled on my lap. The speed and force of the twigs hitting me had etched a pattern of bleeding scratches into my arms, face, and generally every other exposed area of skin. I couldn't even see anyone in the front seat. Becca? Matt? No reply. Flying out of the car at warp speed, I ran around and pulled on Matt's door. He was lost in a tangled mess. Hold on, I can get out, he emerged, and I could hardly believe he was still alive. It didn't even look like he was actually skin remaining on his face, but he was conscious. At that moment, that was all I cared about. I ran around to the other side and flung open Becca's door. Small tree branches were so densely packed into the front of the car that I couldn't even see her. In the mix of fear and frenzy, I broke them away until I finally uncovered her. Sarah? Uh-huh. Are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. I think you look awful. Are you okay? I think at that point my heart started beating again. Yeah, fine. I'm glad you are. That was way too close. Can you get out? No. I'm going to find someone who can call for help, Matt announced, sprinting back in the direction he had come from. I prayed that someone would drive by. However, I knew that in the current weather condition, it was highly unlikely. Okay, we'll wait for somebody to get here. I knelt by the door and kept her company. I'm really glad you came to the dance with me, she told me with a smile. I'm glad I came too. With her smile turned to a grimace, and I followed her glance. Suddenly I thought I was going to be sick. A large tree limb at least as big around my arm, protruded from her chest. Her entire left side was covered in blood, and more was added to it with each pulse of her heart. You'll be okay, I told her, feeling feeling them in my throat, whatever that says. Taking her hand, I held onto her for dear life. My heart was smashed into pulp as I watched her. With every breath I took, I could feel tiny razor-sharp daggers stabbing every square inch of my body. She smiled again at me. Again my heart took a beating. You're so sweet, thanks. My face was wet, and I wasn't sure whether it was with blood, rain, or tears. I was probably all three. Soon Becca's hand grew cold, and the blood that pulsed from her chest became significantly less with each beat. Hey, Sarah, she whispered. I managed. Barely a sound at all. Girl, I love you so much. Don't let them keep us apart. Okay? Not really sure what she meant. I was willing to agree with anything. Yeah, I'll ride to the hospital with you. She shook her head. That's not what I meant, and you know it. Promise? I searched for my voice for what seemed like priceless years. I promise. Becca smiled at her in her characteristically sweet way at me, nodding, her eyes shut peacefully. The grip on my hand loosened. In a panicked choke, I thrusted my head into the car, mere centimeters from hers. Becca, stay awake, Becca, no, come on, girl, back. Running out of voice, I stared in disbelief at the blood-covered, cold body of the person who had been closer to me than anyone else for 8 years. 8 long years that had ended in a single unbelievable moment. I laid my head on her lap and sobbing her name until every last ounce of strength in me was gone, dissolving into body-racking tears. I fell into the cold ground and grasped her hand again. The cold hail pounded on my back, and I was all alone. Walking through those double doors again for the first time in 2 weeks, I braced myself at yet another wave of grief and loss blasted me in the face. It took completely concentration to make the interminable walk to my locker. I was aware that people were actually stopping to watch me go by. Finally I got there, and all I could do was stand there and stare at the cold, gray metal door. Looking to the ceiling for some kind of help, some kind of comfort, I prepared myself for the inevitable. There would be no little card taped to the top shelf, no recent sign of someone else's presence besides my own there. Bracing myself against every emotion that beat against my body, I slowly spun my combination lock. 21, 39, 22. Click. Painfully swallowed the hard lump in my throat, removed the lock, and slowly swung the door open. A new card was taped to the shelf, the handwriting on the envelope so mistakenly familiar, and yet it just couldn't be. Using every bit of control I had left, I peeled the envelope from the shelf. The well-known scent it carried actually knocked me over. Sitting hard on the floor, new tears came running down my cheeks in a rushing torrent. There was nothing left to do. I had to open it. Open the card. I could barely read the lines through my blurred vision. Sarah. Hey, I know you didn't really want to come to the dance tonight, but I'm glad you agreed to it. Girl, I love you, and I hope I didn't drive you nuts trying to convince you to do this. We always stuck together, and it'll never change, right? Hope you have fun. I'll see you soon, Becca. I let my eyes wander to the inside of the locker room and found exactly the picture I didn't want to see. It had always been one of my favorites, dating back only about 2 months to band camp. We had our arms around each other, saluting with our instruments. The picture showed us laughing about something or other. We were always laughing about something. I didn't know how I was going to keep my promise to Becca. It seemed that fate had done a really good job of separating us. Already I could vividly recall her smile, her laugh, her voice, her expressions. The bell rang as everyone drifted to class. I slipped outside. I lifted my face to the sky and let the sunlight dry my tears. New resolve filled my being. I grasped every memory, insignificant as some seemed, my best friend, and locked them into the big empty space in my heart. They came nowhere near filling the gap, but I could never let them go. For the first time I understood what Becca had meant in her final breaths. There was nothing that could ever keep us apart. Time had proven that was impossible. Turning back to the school building I had entered for the first time not long ago, I knew that this time I had the strength to go back inside. After all this time, I wasn't alone. I carried the spirit of my best friend, and she and I never truly be apart. She lives on every smile I give away. That was a tearjerker for sure, but thank you, Lord, as always, for your living, breathing word. And through tragedies, there is always, no matter how tragic life can get, we can still find hope in our Lord and Jesus Christ, and He can get us through anything. We can believe in that. So, yeah. See you later. Also, I kind of forgot. Please pray for, we lost one of our clients. She passed away this past week, and one of our church family members was a member. I'm not sure if she was a member, but one of our church family had passed away. So please pray for those two. I can't say their names, but just pray for those families that are hurting. It was their time to go. One of them was just had so many strokes and heart attacks. That was our client. I really knew her, so my sympathy goes out to the family. She was such a sweetheart. No matter how much pain she was in, she had a good spirit about her. Even though when she was in pain, she didn't complain much, which is a miracle in itself. I mean, I feel like I would complain the entire time. I'm like, please, Lord, just take me out, that type of situation. But she was very optimistic. So I'm hoping and praying that the family gets a sense of peace within their hearts. And our church family, the lady that passed away, she died of cancer. So I'm not sure what kind of cancer it was, but she died of cancer, and she fought years of it. And so please pray for the family. I know the family pretty well. I know the husband. I know their great-grandson that I even taught as a child. Poor kid's just suffering right now. And Mom told me what that was said, transpired. It was so sad. He said, I don't know if I might be paraphrasing it because I can't remember if I'm saying this right, but he said, like, he didn't think he would ever see his great-grandmother again, because he thought he was going to go to hell because he's such a bad boy. And I'm like, even though he dedicated his life to the Lord, I don't think he totally grasped the meaning of it, and also the fact that he thinks that just simply pray for this little boy. I think he's 8 now. He's in 1st grade, so it just breaks my heart to think that he thinks that. And I'm like, that's not true, As long as you accept God in your life and ask God to forgive you of your sins, you're not going to go to hell just because of that. So it breaks my heart to think that. He used to be one of my students, so it tugs at your heart. So I'm hoping and praying that not only that his Sunday school teacher and the rest of us will teach him how, that is not the truth. You will see your great-grandmother again, because we know you're a good kid. You might make mistakes, obviously. We all do it, any age. But as long as we ask God to sincerely help us and forgive us of our sins, He will forgive us. He automatically forgives us anyway, but we have to be willing to say, Lord, I'm sorry, So hopefully one of us will help him in that regard. So please pray for the families. It's just kind of devastating, but at the same time, I'm glad the women are not suffering anymore. They're relieved. They're with Jesus. They're praising the Lord. They're young again, There's no more sorrow. There's no more hurt. That's something to be so grateful for. They're not in pain anymore. So just please pray for them as well as Coco. And anyone else that might be suffering, if you think of anyone, I always have people come through my mind all the time, and God places them on my heart, and I automatically start praying for them. So remember, I'm praying for you, and if God places someone on your heart, that's your cue to start praying for them. So yeah, keep on praying and seeking after God. Just like that is the evening. Oh, by the way, if you see the next clip, that looks like I'm wearing a whole different outfit. that'll be because I completely forgot to, well, I actually didn't forget. I just got too busy and wrapped up, and I got really extremely tired today. Didn't get a nap, but I felt like I was gonna pass out, but because I was so tired. But anyway, if you see me reading my Bible during Bible time, that'll be because it's tomorrow that I'm gonna be reading it, but I'm gonna add it to this video, so that is that. You probably don't care however I put it, but I still don't want to leave out Bible time. I've done that a couple of times and I don't like doing that. So tomorrow I'll be reading Bible time, but it'll be put into today's vlog. So anyway, I got most of my chores done. Tomorrow I'm going to be visiting our neighbor who doesn't live around here anymore. She lives up Pennsylvania somewhere. So we're going to go visit her for a while, Ricky and I. So yeah, and then I guess we'll go out to eat for lunch and then we'll come back home. So that'll be for tomorrow. Probably won't vlog any of that because I don't want to bring my camera, but sometime in the afternoon to evening I'll be coming back and doing things. So yeah, that's how my Friday went. I'll probably be going to bed early tonight because I'm tired. Yeah, hope you guys, as always, enjoyed the vlog. As always, keep on smiling. Stay positive. None of those negative vibes. Okay, positive vibes only. And as always, I love you guys. Jesus loves you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you. Goodbye.